or the ritualistic, a temple, say. But the pattern on the floor stumped them, seeming, as it did, to belong to neither category. It was an ancient mystery, neither practical nor devout. Or maybe more profoundly, it was both. It was a game, one of the earliest known. For the fisherfolk of Tlacuachero, game-playing had apparently become one of the necessities of life, writes the anthropologist Barbara Voorhees, who has studied the site extensively. Ancient Mesoamericans weren't alone in their fondness for play. Archaeologists have pondered ancient findings from countless places. In a gravesite in Egypt, for example, dating from the Neolithic period before the pharaohs, diggers found a game called senet, with pieces molded of dried mud. They've found games from ancient Persia, too, and ancient India and ancient China. Wherever humans settled, games became necessities of life. In each of these far-flung societies, games straddled the utilitarian and the ritualistic. Egyptian senet was played by both peasants and kings. In secular terms, it required strategic planning and a sophisticated understanding of probability, as players tossed casting sticks, essentially ancient dice, to race a set of pawns around a board. But senet also represented the connection between life and death, and the movement of Ba, a concept similar to the Western idea of a soul. The senet board effectively became the netherworld, writes the archaeologist Peter Piccione. The royal game of was first played in ancient Mesopotamia. It is also a strategy game played with dice. It had at least one earthly attraction, gambling, and a heavenly one as well. The spaces a player's pieces landed on were thought to symbolize messages from the beyond, declarations of her fate. A recent archaeological study painstakingly traces the game's spread across the Middle East. It has been found at hundreds of sites in many countries from across hundreds of years, essentially unchanged. You know a version of this game today. It's called backgammon. Another ancient game from Egypt, with versions later mentioned by Plato and Homer, became modern checkers. An ancient game from India, used for military training, became modern chess. One from China, used for similar purposes, became Go. Playing cards, and therefore games such as poker and bridge, can be traced back 1,000 years to the development of printing. Games remain necessities of life today. For one thing, they're fun. They activate and satisfy psychological desires. Pleasure derives from immersing oneself in games' worlds, or in improving one's skills, or in benefiting from their systems of chance. The real world may from time to time offer us a chance to solve an elegant problem, and the satisfaction that comes with it, but games offer this chance constantly. While other art forms like painting or film might capture some visual aspect of the world, a game records a set of decisions and actions, packing them onto a small board, into a deck of cards, or onto a hard drive. In other words, games offer a space to enjoy agency. When playing games, we can take up goals temporarily, not because we actually care about achieving them in an enduring way, but because we want to have a certain kind of struggle, writes C.T. Nguyen, a philosopher at the University of Utah. And we can do so for the sake of aesthetic experiences of striving, of our own gracefulness, of the delicious perfection of an intellectual epiphany, of the intensity of the struggle, or of the dramatic arc of the whole thing. Games also offer simplified models of a dauntingly complicated world, with dynamics that we can grasp and master. Playing a game, entering what the cultural historian Johann Huizinga called the magic circle, or the space created when players sit down to play, is adopting a unique way of seeing and acting in the world. We can take parts of ourselves into this magic circle, and we can take parts of the game back out with us. The border between the two is thin and often porous. Learning a game's intricacies and playing that game